Welcome to my YouTube television show. I was born a little bit of past half century before television was widespread across the nation. Radio, some people had radios, but you had to have electricity to run a radio. So if you grew up country style, you didn't even have a radio when I was born and grew up. That's until the 60s hit and things got wild. Man walked on the moon. People forgot what music really was. They took and said it was all perfect. If you didn't do it like that, then you weren't a pianist or an entertainer. Well, that's what happened as the electronic era came into play. People forgot what it meant just to sit around and have fun around the piano. What that meant. So those were the days way back then.
Sidewalk for me, babe. Oh, hit the highway, Jack. There ain't no kitchen
See, I remember pancakes, grease in the air, and a whole lot of fun. But I seen the change from a simple, natured farmer. I seen the change from a farmer and the people transition into your electronic era citizen. What I mean is, there was a change in the people, in the civilization. As the electronics really took off in the 60s, that's pretty much when it really started kicking it that I seen. You know, I'm not talking about the rate of, I'm talking about the people. But I'm taking the time and saying, okay, what did this really do with the people? How did it change them? Well, everyone went to the TV and abandoned the piano, the mandolin, the guitar, and for a lot. And some people didn't. But there was a big separation right there of humanity. And some went to the light and some stayed with the light. So that's kind of what the electronics did when it came in. I can tell you firsthand. You know, it was pretty cool, but it did affect art in different ways. Like graphic art went crazy, and recorded music started taking off with the, 45s and the discs, the records. That was so cool when you put you get the wand of the record player and put the little bitty needle that spun on just hovered above the record. Those were the days, man. Jeez. It was so cool.
days, way back then.
Now we find ourselves in this day and age going back to the piano. The reason being, there was more than revolutions or whatever, wars, but there was a transition of the people from the 50s, 60s, right at the 60s, there was a big transition of the people. And what I see happening, now that we've conquered the electronic thing and we all felt comfortable with it, and now it's actually, could be a threat. And the problem is over evolution. We evolve ourselves into like this, there's only a selected few of us allowed to survive, and everybody else is put on a laboratory shelf. You know what I'm saying? Using DNA strands and stuff forevermore. Or the robots, we evolve ourselves into these machines that will destroy us very quickly. I mean, they already have machines that are, my God, some of the best soldiers I ever seen in my life. They're killing machines, And the truth of the matter is, I think they're cheaply made. So an army could be gathered up very quickly, these things. And I mean, these are some badass robots. So we evolve ourselves in all this crap. And then we find, well, that one didn't work. And so we're run through this time loop of this galactic time loop. And we keep looping around until we finally get it right. Well, what if we never get it right? So we just keep looping out. And another thing I've seen, my friend Thor, or the Asteroid Fight Club commander, I was so proud of that kid, man. Yeah. And others, Some really to be proud of is Kevin Miles, all of his children, his whole family. Their art, they're just about music, and they always have been. It isn't like the lockdown situation changed their style, because they were already into art and theater. That's just what they were and are. So you see how people transcend. What I mean by transcending is the way people were affected. They become something different with a new toy. The new toy is the electronic world, the computer world, the advancements, and So okay, without getting too much lost in details, because details will destroy you and build you. It just depends on where you're standing. So, to make a long story short, the transition of people separated the two. It began a separation of the people that held on to to the old years, to the songs of old. So they held on to the songs of old, whereas the others seeked out the songs of the new. and people were separated, parted. If I was gonna define history, that's kind of what I'd say. The history of this time could be pretty well categorized as in a broad scale. I'm talking very broad. Just as a parting of the people. Because it's a funny thing with time loops. Things like electronics and stuff like that really affect how long a cycle is allowed to run. Like a loop. And they just keep looping out until they finally get it right. If you follow me. So I'm sure that you probably didn't follow me. If there was any logic in that. But hell with that, I'm not gonna ever talk my way out of that one. Those were the days. And then people began to not like what they lost because they were farm people. But they lost so much in the course of, say, 50 years, half a century, that they became angry. And they went to pretty much to battle with against the machine. And the machine, the machine. Oh man, the machine is one awesome thing. It's a creation of humanity pretty much in the course of 150 years. And humanity is very capable of creating awesome stuff in the course of 150 years. Simple as that. Now, mankind may have been around who knows how long. But in the course of 150 years, humanity is capable of quite a bit, you know. And so, $150 years And I mean, another thing that we're overlooking in the media coverage and all is that who's using our equipment that we make. I mean, there are aliens, we all know that. And they use our tractors and stuff, man. They use our tractors, they use our cars, everything. And so you see, this third market that exists, we're blinded to it as simpletons. But the higher ups are not blinded to it. So we're kind of existing in, in between a rock and a hard place. And if we're not very careful, we're gonna get our asses jammed up. You know what I'm saying? Just by being stupid. So you got 150 years, and you got a new market. Well, pretty much the market is probably on Jupiter. That's probably the big market. I mean, imagine how many beings, advanced creatures, can exist on Jupiter. I mean, that's a lot of space there. And space is normally filled with something. So logic says there's somebody everywhere on every planet, and every planet has a purpose. Like the moon. You tilt the moon and the earth goes crazy. I mean, you tilt the moon and the earth goes crazy. You see what I'm saying? Every place is occupied. Every place is used. Not a stone unturned. In time, everything is meant to be exactly the way it is. But those were the days. So we found this new vision in the passage of time as the people separated. The ones that separated from the old found this new vision. They began to see the world as a bigger place, which it was and is. But this vision cost us dearly. So, in the music spectrum, it looks like people are abandoning this electronic music thing. It has to be so perfect, without error. And everything's so defined by this machine. It counts your every step, your every move. Then I found that I was getting lost in this computer programming concept. I was being absorbed by this machine. My music was being sacrificed to this horrible electronic spark. And I rebelled. And I went back to my old harp, my old wood mechanisms. Keep, hammer stuff, all of it mechanical. I rebelled against the electronic fiends that wanted to itemize every piece of me and my music so they could someday put me on a shelf again. Well, then I decided to come to YouTube. I had a chance to go live, to present myself in a truthful way, a down-home way, without much problem. You just click a button and you're on video. So to make a long story short, I'm very happy with this live situation. The other situation was no good. It was all about, it was horrible what starts happening once you start over recording music and dubbing and taking away from, real live performances. That this live thing eliminated all that and I seen a way out. I mean, so I grabbed it. I grabbed my piano and my drums. And I'll tell you, I'm so happy with these drums and this piano. None of it electric. The only thing that's electric is the microphone. And all the microphone really does is makes it so you can hear me the way I sound right back here. Because none of this is amplified in any way. And so that was so cool, man. It opened up this new freedom where I didn't have to deal with the machine anymore. Then I began to discover poetry. Great poets. But I thought, well, man, it's so cool if I put music to this poetry, because this poetry is so damn good, so wonderful. Then I thought, man, it's so cool, man. Give that to the people, man. Do something good. So I began to read poems and stuff into the microphone, into the machine. But this machine wasn't like the old machines. It actually allowed the people to share, to actually shake hands once again. Like the old timers used to do. And so there you have it, evolution. Because we discovered, and now all hell's breaking loose in the world because humanity is just tired of the same old shit, And not only that, it goes deeper than that. How the world is becoming chaotic. The earth is really waking up, and a lot of things have been happening, documented with, some pretty good factual stuff to back it up in science and earthology, frequencies and stuff like that. It gives you a pretty good idea what's going on. Well, I guess I don't know how I'm ever going to talk my way out of this one. I think I'm going to try something. Way too fast. There we go. This little spring wound metronome is so cool because you can set it to like a slow dance or a real slow dance or a real fast dance. There it is.
Having a fit.
Put him out there.
He was almost to the door.
Well, he wouldn't do that. I got to anyway, but thank you for being a wonderful audience. And I'll see you next time.